City Council on this Tuesday, July the 16th, 2019. And welcome all of the council that are all present this evening, along with our staff members and some of our public that has joined with us this evening. So we would like to start this evening with having a Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Lamone, after which our Carter, our HR Director, will give us the opening remarks.
Will the audience please stand and repeat the pledge with me?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our beloved Father in heaven, we are grateful for the many blessings that Thou hast given us here in this community. We're grateful for the leaders that we have here. We pray for Thy wisdom and inspiration to be here for those who are serving, and we pray that we might be able to continue to know Thy will in this community. And this we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, guys. Now I'd like to open approval of tonight's agenda and ask for a motion.
I don't think, Scott, we're Scott. We don't have any changes to the agenda? So we're good. Okay, so Mayor, I make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, move to item 5, our open session. Open it up to our public to come forward and for 3 minutes and address any items they'd like to bring forward to the council. I don't see anybody rushing the podium, so we'll now close our open session and move on to item number 6, our consent items this evening, and ask if there's any questions on any of the consent items that we have this evening.
I actually do have a question. Thank you, Mayor. And these would probably be for Marty. Marty, just give me a really quick update on, there's a approval change for the Cody Ecker on 300 East. That was kind of sizable, so I was just wondering about that. Maybe an explanation.
Yes, so the change order for Cody Ecker, there is a couple of items that are actually a developer along the road is developing, and they needed to get some improvements in, and that was equaled, I believe, $14,000. She's already paid for those improvements, but we had to add them through change order into the project so that we could have them complete the work. So that's one of the items. The other item is we are installing a water line from 3rd East down to the junior high seminary. It was a project that when we did 1st East and abandoned the line on 1st East, that we had intended to get this line off of 3rd East completed. And with the prices that we got from Cody, we felt like adding this small little section in there would be a good opportunity for us to get that project done, which we needed to get done this summer anyway, since we abandoned that line. So that's that project and the substantial cost on that one.
So, I think my question was if this was okay and if you had it in your budget to fulfill that. Okay.
Yep.
It was probably cheaper by doing it now than it would have been later.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the other one was for the Walker Tank landscaping.
Yes, so as you know, we kind of took this project on in-house. We did the landscaping project. We had an engineer design it, but we did the engineering. And one item that we had left out was in front of the tank, we'd talked about putting a retaining wall for the landscaping to be able to shield the frontage of the tank.
Yeah.
That item was left out of the bid, so everything else was bid, so we needed to add that back in. So that was in the amount of about $10,000. The $3,000 is we needed to put in a water line that goes from the fire hydrant in front of the property up to the top of the tank so we can clean out the tank. So it's not tied to the landscaping, it's a total separate cleaning item that was not put in with the original tank project.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Is there any other further questions on the consent items for this evening? If not, I would like to entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the consent items.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson and a second by Councilmember Lamone. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. When we have no board, commission, or committee appointments this evening, and we have no presentations. So we'll move to our highlights of this evening, to our public hearings. And we'll start with 9A, a public hearing to consider for adoption ordinance 2019-14 to adjust the common boundary between Pleasant Grove City and the city of Cedar Hills. A proposed area to be adjusted is owned by Ryan and Elizabeth Clark, 3824 North Canyon Road, Pleasant Grove, comprising of .81 acres, and Jody Salt located, is that something, how do you?
Van Zant?
Van Zant, okay, Van Zant, just the way it's spelled there. Located 3862 North Canyon Road, Pleasant Grove, comprising .937 acres, and providing for an effective date. General Counsel.
Mayor and Council, we have received an application from Tina. I don't think your mic is on.
Okay. There we go. Mayor and Council, we have received an application from these two property owners. The property is on the east side of 100 East, in the north part of Pleasant Grove, adjacent to Cedar Hills, adjacent to the current boundary between the two municipalities. The state code allows a modified, simplified mechanism called mutual boundary adjustments when both cities are in agreement to boundary adjust properties from one city to the next. This application fits under the state code, and they are requesting the boundary adjustment because they need sewer service, and Pleasant Grove City does not have sewer service on that side of First East in that area, nor are we able to provide that service in a cost-effective manner. Cedar Hills does have sewer service available there, and it is their policy currently not to provide sewer service outside their municipal boundaries. They request that property owners boundary adjust into their municipality to provide those services. So we have declared our intent a while ago, the resolution, and this is the final part.
Any questions for council?
This doesn't make them an island, does it?
No.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no questions, I would now entertain that we will open up our public hearing, consider this ordinances, and invite anybody who'd like to address the council on this annex, on this change of
Boundary adjustment.
boundary adjustments, okay? We have no one who wants to publicly speak on this, so we'll close the public hearing and bring it back up to the council for any further discussion or a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion for adoption of ordinance 2019-14 to adjust the common boundary between Pleasant Grove City and the city of Cedar Hills. The proposed area to be adjusted is owned by Ryan and Elizabeth Clark at 3824 North Canyon Road, Pleasant Grove, Utah, comprising .81 acres, and Jody Van Zant, located at 3862 North Canyon Road, Pleasant Grove, Utah, comprising 0.937 acres and providing for effective date.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jensen, a second by Councilmember Lamone. This will be a roll call vote. Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone,
Yes.
Councilmember Walker,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes unanimously. We will now move on to our public hearing item 9B, public hearing to consider for adoption ordinances 2019-15, amending the Pleasant Grove city boundaries by annexing parcels from Utah County with serial numbers of 14054-0154 and 14054-0155 and 14054-0152, and surrounding areas along the I-15 corridor totaling an area of 13.27 acres. The aforementioned area known as the Better Better Investment Annexation will receive the zoning designation of the Grove Zone Interchange Subdistrict located approximately 2295 West, 700 South, Pleasant Grove, Utah, providing for an effective date. And we'll turn the time over to Director Cardenas.
Thank you, Mayor. So this item is for an annexation obviously we're going to amend our city boundaries. As the mayor mentioned, the applicant is Better Investment Group, so I think they have the company Better Body Foods. #1 peanut butter sellers in Amazon. I said like 2 brand names already there. The property that we're going to take a look at right here is that one in purple, okay? That will help us a lot to locate ourselves. I always use the Horrocks buildings to see where I am. Here's the freeway, I-15, and this is this black line that we can barely see. You know, they told me not to use this, but it's easier, but I'm gonna use my mouth in case someone is watching me online. So this black line right here is the property line of the city as it is right now, okay? In our, we already adopted a plan. The city has a plan for future annexations or annexation policy plan, and this property right here was included in that policy plan. So now the applicant moving to join it for the property to join to the city. That's another image of the property right there. The total square footage, the total acreage that is proposed to be annexed is 13.27 acres. It's quite a piece of land right there. Now, this is not just one parcel or one lot by itself. This one is made out of different parcels. Actually, there's a private owner who owns this corner right there. Then the actual people who apply owns the big chunk. And there's a lot of parcels right here that belong to UDOT. Okay, UDOT is the owner of those lands, but we're not going to leave any islands between cities, between Pleasant Grove and American Fork. Therefore, we ask the applicant to include all of the parcels around it that are part of the annexation policy plan and annex them into the city at this point. Let me see. Here you go. That's kind of that's the plat, the future plat of what the applicant will use. As you can see, this big parcel right here, it goes right there. That's the what's owned by the applicant. Obviously, we have one corner right here that it's for the private resident and the chunks of land that I was referred to. Okay, all of those are 13.27. I think this one by itself is just, I don't remember, I think it's 10 acres, something about 10 acres. Okay, so this one, eventually, the applicant will come up with a site plan, but that will be as a future application. All we're seeing right now is just the annexation of that land. Right now, as it's going to be annexed into the city, it will take the zone of it will be in the Grove in an interchange subdistrict. So eventually, whatever the developer wants to do, they either got to follow the rules that we have for that zone or a possible rezone. But again, that's in the future. At this point, all we're talking about is just the annexation of that piece of land into the city. This item did go to Planning Commission. They received a positive recommendation of approval, unanimous. The applicant here in the corner went to the Planning Commission. He expressed his desires of not to be included, but he's been in touch with our city attorney, and maybe Tina can tell us a little bit more about that if it's needed. But at this point, is the whole 13.27 acres that is proposed to be annexed. Okay, that's what I have, Mayor.
Any other questions for Daniel? Thank you, Daniel.
My pleasure.
Now, I would like to now open the public hearing to consider for adoption ordinances 2019-15. Anyone who'd like to come forward and address the council, please come forward. Please just state your name.
Garth Jacqueline. I am the owner of the small lot. And we're being annexed into Pleasant Grove City, which we don't have any choice over the matter because we're too small. And I understand that. My question is I have animal rights there and I have equipment there. And I would like to get that grandfathered in so that I don't lose that rights. I just barely purchased the property. It's for a place for my equipment to sit while it's waiting for another job to go on. And then the renters of the property have animals. And so I want to be able to keep those rights as long as I'm glad to be in Pleasant Grove City. Don't get me wrong.
You just don't know how grateful you are yet.
I do.
Tina?
I build in American Fork City. Dealt with it before.
So my suggestion, Mr. Jacqueline, would be to get from our Community Development Department what's called a zoning verification letter, and that they will establish those legal non-conforming use rights that you're asking for and make sure that you qualify for that. And then you'll have a piece of paper in your hand and keep in your file so that if anybody ever questions that later on down the road, you can say, the city's already looked at it, they've already said I qualified, and here it is. In order to be granted legal nonconforming status or to be called grandfathered, you just have to show that you legally established the use while it was permitted in the zone. So I can't tell you tonight that you're entitled to it 100%, but I can tell you that our Community Development Department would evaluate it, and if you are, you would be able to have a document that would secure those rights to continue to use that parcel in that manner.
Okay. So I just need to go to the city and get.
Contact Daniel Cardenas at the Community Development Department and have him do a zoning verification for you and issue the letter.
Okay,
Okay?
that'll work. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Welcome to Pleasant Grove.
It would have taken him a year in American Fork. I'm teasing.
Is there anyone else that'd like to come forward on this public hearing? If not, we'll now declare this public hearing closed and bring it back to the council for any further discussion or a motion.
I make the motion that we adopt ordinance 2019-15, amending Pleasant Grove city boundaries by annexing parcels from Utah County with the serial numbers. Do I need to read those, Tina?
I think
Okay. With the parcel numbers as described in the city council agenda and surrounding areas along the I-15 corridor totaling an area of 13.27 acres. The aforementioned area, known as the Better Investment Annexation, will receive the zoning designation of the Grove Zone Interchange Subdistrict located approximately 2295 West, 700 South Pleasant Grove, Utah, providing for an effective date.
second.
I have a motion, I have a second. I have a motion by Councilmember Lamone, a second by Councilmember Jensen. And this will be a roll call vote again. Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
Councilmember Walker.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
And it passes unanimously. Thank you. And that ends our public hearings for this evening because 9C is continued to our next meeting on August the 6th. We'll now move on to our action items this evening. And our first one is 10A, to consider for adoption a resolution 2019-034 authorizing the mayor to execute a conduit system lease agreement with Utopia, providing for an effective date. General Counsel.
Mayor and council, the resolution before you anticipates that we would enter into a conduit lease agreement with Utopia Fiber. As you are all aware, Utopia provides telecommunications services, or actually network services to individual providers. And they have a couple of projects here in Pleasant Grove, doTERRA being one of them, and a few other business clients that they want to provide fiber to. And they need to use some of ours, some conduit space in order to pull their fiber through that we already own and have in the area. So we've worked out a lease agreement with them. They would be paying us approximately 60 cents a foot. There's approximately 1,500 feet involved, so they would pay us $900 a year for the lease with a 2% yearly or annual adjustment. And I believe I spoke with Aaron Leach over email today, and they will have the check ready for us either tonight or in the morning after we've approved it and they sign it. Any questions about that?
This is unfinished, new construction. There's no cutting, there's no,
They are going to, as part of their overall project, there is going to be some boring, but I will let Marty explain that when we talk about the franchise agreement. So the next item on the agenda is granting them a franchise agreement to work in our rights-of-way. This particular agreement is simply leasing our empty conduit space that we have in the area.
okay.
Okay?
They already lease another section that's tied to this section from us, which we approved a couple of years ago, I believe, so.
In 2018.
So we're now extending just a little bit further up to 1300 West on this conduit
But it's new construction?
for them, but the conduits are in place for
Okay.
what's being approved here. We're just allowing them to lease one of our fiber conduits. We have 4.
Using some of our existing.
They're using one.
Got it. So
In-
we're covering our expenses?
Yeah, well, we're making money on our conduit.
Okay.
Yeah, we're renting out something that, an infrastructure, piece of
Already
infrastructure that we've
exist.
already installed.
Okay, happy.
Okay, any other questions for? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2019-034, authorizing the mayor to execute a conduit system lease agreement with Utopia and providing for an effective date.
Second. We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson, a second by Councilmember Walker. This is a roll call vote again. Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
Councilmember Walker.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you.
We'll now move to 10B, consider for adoption ordinance 2019-17, authorizing the mayor to execute a franchise agreement with Utopia to provide for an effective date. And again, General Counsel, do you want to enlighten us on this? Or Marty?
We'll turn it over to Mark.
Okay.
Can explain the project itself.
Yeah,
good.
so as is typical with any of our private utility providers, they are required to come to the city and get a franchise agreement so that when they work within our right-of-ways, then we have some coverage to make sure that if they make an error or do something, that then we can hold them to this franchise agreement, as well as it does provide taxes into the city when they operate within our boundaries. And so Utopia, again, a little over a year ago, they came and requested to lease one of our 4 conduits. We have 4 conduits that we installed for the signals at 1300 West and Pleasant Grove Boulevard. We installed those. We only used one of those conduits, but you typically will install it's called a 1D bundle. It's 4 conduits. So they leased one of them up to 550 South, right by the Holiday Oil. This other lease was up to 1300 West. Now they want to take another conduit. This is just another project that they're intending to do under the boulevard, up 1300 West on the west side, all the way up to the Cambria and Pemberley development areas, and then over and into Cambria is what the development plan showed. We have indicated to them that they need to have a franchise agreement in order to be installing within our right-of-ways. You also maybe know that they installed up Locust Avenue this last year, all the way to the high school, up 2nd South and up to the high school. And so we just got to a point where we said, well, we can't just keep granting you additional permissions to enter our right-of-ways without having a franchise agreement. We've negotiated the franchise agreement with them now, and that's what's before you, is to approve that, and we make that recommendation.
Any questions for Marty?
Let me clarify, this is not an agreement with Utopia. I think, just to be clear, we are not agreeing to sign on to the Utopia cities or anything of that nature. It's just an agreement that they can come and install within our city boundaries under a franchise agreement, just like Centricom or Comcast or anybody else does.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
Okay, council, I'd ask for a motion on item 10B.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 2019-17, authorizing the mayor to execute a franchise agreement with Utopia and providing for an effective date.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Yeah, we have a motion by Councilmember Williams, second by Councilmember Lamone. This is a roll call vote again, and make sure you're awake on this one. The Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Councilmember Walker.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
And Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Trying to keep us awake, Mayor.
I've just
You're mixing
gotta
it up.
slip
Mixing
that
it
up
up.
there a little bit, so. Okay, we'd like to now move to 10C, consider for approval a two-lot preliminary subdivision plat called Grove Creek Center, commercial subdivision plat B on property located approximately 2054 West Grove Parkway in the Grove Zone Interchange Subdistrict. Director Cardenas.
Mayor, council, if we keep saying my name, by the end of the meeting, everyone will know how to say it right.
Cardenas.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Cárdenas.
Danielle.
Cárdenas. All righty. So, thank you, Mayor and Council. Like you mentioned, this item is for a two-lot subdivision. This is the parcel that, the property owner, Dennis Baker, has been managing this or owning this. It's about a 7-acre piece of land right there in the interchange subdistrict. Always when I look at the aerial view, it helps me a lot. Again, this is where the Horrocks building is. And right now, as it is, it's a 3-lot subdivision. But what the applicant is proposing is to go to 2-lot subdivision. Pretty simple. So now, pretty much what he's doing, he's consolidating these two lots right there and creating a new lot, leaving the access for the building in the back, and that's what he is proposing. Okay, so now we're going to have 2 lots. One lot, the lot that's staying right here with the building, it's a little shy of 5 acres, and then this one right here is 3.8 acres. Okay, so that's what we have. We don't have very strict requirements in regards to size, frontage, and stuff like that in that zone. So this meets all the requirements that we have for the zone. The item went to the Planning Commission, actually last Planning Commission, and received a unanimous recommendation of approval for this new subdivision. Okay. When we make a plat, it makes me excited because now we're just ready to see what we're gonna put in there, right? That will come soon. So that's what I have, Mayor.
Look like you're
Okay,
ready.
any further questions? No, thank you, Daniel. And now ask for a motion to consider for approval for this 2-lot.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the 2-lot preliminary subdivision plat called Grove Creek Center Commercial Subdistrict Plat B on property located approximately 2054 West Grove Parkway in the Grove Zone Interchange Subdistrict.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Williams, a second by Councilmember Jensen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move on to 10D. Consider for approval a site plan for a multi-tenant professional office building on property located 1972 West Grove Parkway in the Grove Zone Commercial Sales District in the Sam White's Lane neighborhood. And we'll turn that back over to Director.
Mayor, Council, once the subdivision is done, here comes the fun part when we start working on an actual site plan, right? For this site, actually, we don't have to do a subdivision. Usually, we run them concurrently. In this case, the subdivision already exists. So where the applicant is proposing, it's a building, a multi-tenant professional office building. This is going to be what I call optometrist heaven, right? And what's going to happen is going to be a place for optometrists to perform to do their job. It's going to be a really nice office building. We're talking about, let me see if I can bring an image, something like that. All right.
Wow.
On a piece of property that right now is empty. As the mayor mentioned, the zone is it's that tiny little part right there that sticks out in the commercial cells. This is in the commercial cell sub-district. Here's the picture of the aerial area so we can locate ourselves. It's a neighbor to the property that we just subdivided, this one right there. That's where the building will be. As you can see, its shape is
Lovely.
very unique, but we were happy to be able to accommodate a building that I think will be a good place for it. This project, because it's a site plan, it actually went to the DRB. So we look into the landscape, we look into the materials, and we were working with the design review board. They forwarded a positive recommendation of approval to the planning commission, which the planning commission received it with open arms, and they also forward a recommendation of approval to the city council, a unanimous recommendation of approval. It will be a 3-story building. There's a mistake on the staff report that I would like to note. It says that the height of the building is 146 feet. Gave me a heart attack. That's why I was texting to my city planner, just barely trying to figure that out. That's a typo. It's actually 46. 46. What happened is that they put the elevation that started at 100. So she saw the number and put it right there. But actually, the building is it will be shorter than 50 feet. Okay. So that's what we have for there. Let me see if I got something else. The property is like we saw again is very unique. It's a little bit more than an acre. And again, it was we're happy to be able to accommodate such a great building. That's what we have, Mayor and Council.
Okay.
It's just a site plan. This is just a site plan.
Any other questions for Daniel?
No.
Thank you, Daniel. Not, I ask for a motion on this item.
Mayor, I make a motion for approval of site plan for a multi-tenant professional office building on property located at 1972 West Grove Parkway in the Grove Zone Commercial Cells Subdistrict, Sam White's Lane neighborhood.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Jensen, a second by Councilmember Williams. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move to item 10E. It's consider for approval a 4-lot residential finally subdivision plat called Fawcett Estates Plat A on property located approximately 1250 north, 680 west in the R1-8 single-family residential zone, Northfield neighborhood. Director.
So it's Mayor, there's a mistake on the agenda. It should have been Fawcett Estates Plat B. My bad. I gave Plat A instead of it. So let's make sure that we got the right subdivision, and it's B. Okay. All right. As the mayor mentioned, this is we jump from commercial to residential now. This is a 4-lot residential subdivision. The subdivision is proposed to be in the middle of a R1A zone. Every lot needs to be at least 8,000 square feet, single-family residential, okay? So that square right there, this represents the total perimeter of the subdivision. That's what we got, right? Some really nice empty land right there, and they decided to subdivide it as follows with a cul-de-sac, and we're gonna have right there 4 lots. The building envelopes are also shown in there. You can barely see them, but you can see the lines as they are right there. These dotted lines right here, those are the actual easements, and then the building envelopes are right here. Like I said, they're hard to see, but we still can. Maybe if we activate our Superman vision, we can take a look at them. But
Or an
anyway.
eye center.
Oh, or
Maybe
go
there'll
to
be
the
an eye center.
So this item went to the planning commission as well, and it received a unanimous recommendation of approval. Okay. It comes to you guys, to the council because it's a 4-lot. If we remember, the ordinance says that 4 lots, starting from there, it comes to you. So that's what we have.
Okay.
Any other questions for Daniel?
Mayor, I'll make,
If you would, please note different on it is Plat B,
yeah,
okay? And that's what it says on
Yep,
the
on the thing.
council staff reports. It's
Yeah.
part of the original subdivision Plat A. So I
Right.
ask for a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve a four-lot residential final subdivision plat called Fawcett Estates Plat B on property located at approximately 1250 North, 680 West in the R1-8 Single Family Residential Zone in the Northfield neighborhood.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Williams, a second by Councilmember Jensen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye?
Any opposed? Not, the motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move to item 10F. To consider for approval final commercial expandable condominium subdivision plat called Battle Creek Business Park, Plat A, on property located approximately 1877 West State Street in the Grove Zone, Commercial Sales District, Sam White's Lane neighborhood. Director.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item I'm going to present, this is for a subdivision plat, but it comes with a site as well. That will be the next item. So I'm going to present both at the same time because they go hand by hand. And then when we just take the motion, and we can take two different motions, one for the site plan, one for the plat first, and then the one for the site plan, if it's okay with you guys. I'll proceed that way. All right, so the next one, it's like we say, it's the subdivision plat, and it comes together with the site plan. Both are for what we've been calling Battle Creek Business Park, okay? The plat will be Battle Creek Business Park Plat A, and it will be a condominium plat. The zone is the interchange subdistrict, and that's not correct. The zone is the actual commercial sales subdistrict. Commercial sales subdistrict. They don't vary much, but it's a commercial sales subdistrict. And again, this is a condominium subdivision. For the site plan, what we're gonna do right there is gonna be 2 office buildings. I say kudos to the applicant because they were facing with a really difficult piece of property right there. The actual property, as if we can follow my mouse right there, goes through right here, and it has frontage all the way right here to State Street on this part, okay? So eventually, all of that will be developed as a kind of like an office complex.
Okay, so Daniel, hold on, I'm confused. So, and I'm following it on the packet as well, but, so he just wants to develop this. What is this one? Who is this?
It's gonna be the same. This is expandable, it's gonna be in phases.
Oh, okay. So
okay.
the property owner owns all of this?
Correct.
Got it.
So this
I'm
is,
with you now.
This is step one of an amazing complex, but like I said, it's gonna be a
Back
complex.
first.
Exactly, so this is the
I'm
first
with
step
you.
that we're gonna put there.
Okay.
And the first condominium plat will have on the site plan, as you can see right there, I should have started with that image, it's way better. So you can see the whole area,
Yeah, there you
right?
go.
You can see the whole area. And right now, what I was showing you, what is in blue right here, what is in blue, it's the line, the property line right here, okay? So we're gonna have the two buildings right there, and enough parking to accommodate the needs of those 2 buildings, okay? Each building will be about 4,200 square feet. Sorry, 21, for both buildings will be about 42, okay?
Is that-
Right now,
Is that a 2-story or 3?
it's a 3-story,
Three-story.
building, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it's a 3-story building. Something to note is that right now, eventually, when the whole thing is developed, they're gonna have access to go through to a State Street. But right now, the access comes right here. So the access is gonna be to,
Go back to the aerial.
there you go. So the access is gonna be through right here to North County Boulevard.
They're going to create the access, or it already exists?
It already exists, right, Mark?
No.
They're creating that. Sorry about that. They're creating it. With this development, they're creating it.
Okay.
On Stan Smith's property.
So it is right through Stan's, or is it between Stan's and Pete's?
It's on Stan's property.
Okay. Stan is
Be
okay with
300
this?
north, right? Is that it's going to be 300 north,
Bought it from
correct.
Stan.
So they're going to create that, and now that way,
Did they
without
split
even develop this part, which will come later, they will have access to, that's how they access to the properties right now, okay? That's for the plat. For the site plan, let me show you a little closer how the site plan looks like. There goes the 2 buildings. Eventually, like I said, we're going to have way more buildings in there. I'm pretty sure they'll be similar to each other. Landscape architecture was okay. I mean, it was good. The building elevations will look something like that, okay? The same, they went through the DRB, so they have the design review board, the materials are okay, the colors were approved, and I got another rendering for a building right there, okay? So eventually, all that area, and I say this like 4 times already, will be a full complex. This is step number 1. That's why I call it an expandable condominium plat. Okay.
So is this going to be attached with a road, or is this going to be just like a driveway?
It's gonna be, in order to go north, to go to State Street.
State Street?
Yeah, it's gonna be through easements, and it's gonna be, correct, Marty? We could
Yes.
define that to be through easements.
So,
Access through parking lot all the way to State Street. Currently, we're going to have an access out to North County Boulevard that's 26-foot wide, paved, curb on both sides that goes straight out to North County Boulevard.
okay, and that's city-owned, or that's
It's
development-owned?
not, that's on an easement. It's an access easement across the Stan Smith property.
And then and then that will continue and be a development road all the way up to State Street, or,
So through the development, as the development develops to the north up to State Street, then there will be access easements granted for these 2 existing buildings that will be existing at the time. They'll just continue to provide that access all the way back up to State Street. There's actually also another access road that comes from the east across in front of Walmart and kind of comes across the bottom end of the
Okay.
property that way. So there's other points of access that will be given. But State Street is where their frontage is, but they have other access points that have been granted for the project.
okay. Would you go back to the aerial for me one more time?
For sure. This is the access that Marty was showing you.
Right there.
Yeah.
Eventually, they'll access there, they'll have an access here, and then they'll have an access about right here.
Correct. Like I said, they have to get really creative because of the shape of the lot. If you guys take
Yeah.
a look, it's super narrow, and it doesn't have a lot of frontage, so it's surrounded by other properties.
Okay, now switch to the plat for me,
To the plat,
or the site plan.
site plan, there you go.
So there's the access road right there.
Yeah.
So
And then the one that will continue through the whole development will be
To the parking lot,
To the parking lot.
through the parking lot.
correct.
Okay.
Any other questions for Daniel? Or for the developer who is here this evening? If not,
And who is the developer again? Ridgepoint Management Group.
Yes.
Okay.
So Daniel, you covered both F and G. right?
Correct. I covered both F and G, so
Do we know the
the
uses?
plat and the site plan.
so any questions on either one?
This is just office, professional office space?
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, if not, I would request a motion on 10F.
Mayor, I make a motion for a final commercial expandable condominium subdivision plat called Battle Creek Business Park Plat A on property located approximately 1877 West State Street in the Grove Zone Commercial Sales Subdistrict.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jensen, a second by Councilmember Lamone. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll move now for a motion on 10G.
I make the motion that we approve a site plan on property located at approximately 1909 to 1959 State Street in the Grove Zone Commercial Sales Subdistrict. Sam White's Lane Neighborhood, Ridgepoint Management Group, LLC, Susan Palmer applicant.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lamone, a second by Councilmember Williams. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move on, Director, to consider two-lot commercial final subdivision plat called Valley Grove Plat J on property located approximately 1221 South Valley Grove Way in the Grove Interchange Subdistrict. Director.
Mayor, Council, as you mentioned, this is another commercial subdivision. This for sure is in the interchange subdistrict. It's a two-lot commercial subdivision. And the reason why that's kind of like the area as it is right now. Here's the aerial, and I guess we all know where we are. And based on that, it's proposed to do two lots like that, okay? The reason why is because we're going for what I like to call the third tower for the city, okay?
Wow.
Tower? Tower. Oh, that would be fun. No tower. We only have one. We only have one tavern inside of Evermore, which is pretty cool, by the way. You should see that.
No, we do have another tavern on Main Street.
Right on Main.
You're right. I call that a cantina.
Oh, canteen.
So it's a two-lot commercial subdivision, and this item went to the Planning Commission, and it did receive a unanimous recommendation of approval for the two lots.
Any other questions?
Wow.
If not, I'd ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve a two-lot commercial final subdivision. Am I in the right place? Yeah. Final subdivision plat called Valley Grove Business Park Plat J on property located approximately 1221 South Valley Grove Way in the Grove Interchange Subdistrict, or Tower 3.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Anderson, a second by Councilmember Lamone. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Is this
Thank you.
Mark Cathermer here?
So,
Daniel's
No,
here.
but
Daniel's here.
Daniel, Thomas
Daniel
is
in the
there.
back. Thank you.
Build it pretty.
he just keeps bringing us more
They just
paperwork.
keep getting pretty and pretty.
That's good. Okay, we'll move to item 10I. Consider for approval site plan for a 5-story office building on property located 1155 South Valley Grove Way in the Grove Zone, Interchange Subdistrict, Sam White Lane neighborhood. Daniel,
Mayor, 5-story professional office building, third tower.
Tower.
That's what we have. In the plat that was just approved, we're working on something like, obviously, that's the aerial view. We only see the rectangle right there, but this is what the applicant is proposing. Okay, similar to the other ones.
Yep, beautiful.
Pleasant Grove being hopefully where we can be recognized as the epicenter of all these new professional jobs here in the city. So that's what the applicant is providing. This item, same went to the Planning Commission. DRB first, we look into the landscape, we look into the parking. As the developer, he has the idea, and he always, every single one of his site plans, he has, well, I call it over park. He corrects me every single time. He says, no, that's exactly what I need. But in regards to the code, he always exceeds the expectations of what we have for landscape, for parking requirements, and even for, I will say, the materials are top of the line, just what we need in that area. So that goes pretty well with the surrounding properties and the developments that we have. I think it's a good step toward keeping that area as the gateway for the city. Planning Commission forwarded a recommendation of approval unanimously as well.
any other questions for Daniel on this 145,000 square foot building?
Wow.
None? Okay, if not,
Just
about
one. Is this, so 140, so is this the same size as the other Grove Towers?
smaller.
I think it's a little small.
Smaller.
I think it's a
the
little
first
smaller,
one
yeah.
was,
One floor.
Daniel, was it 190?
190, and then, what's the second one?
170,
And this one is,
145.
okay, all right.
Who's
Okay.
testing you?
I ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
10J.
I didn't hear everybody jumping on that one.
Oh,
Right for you.
We're just letting that side have.
Just trying to be patient and unselfish. I will make a motion that we approve site plan for a 5-story office building on property located at 1155 South Valley Grove Way in the Grove Zone Interchange Subdistrict.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Anderson, a second by Councilmember Lamone. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll now go to 10K. Consider for adoption Resolution 2019-03.
10K or 10J?
Jay?
I think it's,
Yeah, 10,
We need a motion to continue 10J.
oh, we're going to move that.
I
need a
make the mo-
motion to continue 10J.
I make the motion to continue item 10J.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
So you knew they were going to continue that?
Okay.
He was listening in the work session.
Okay, now Daniel's had plenty of mic space this afternoon. We'll move to Item 10L, consider for adoption Resolution 2019-036, authorizing the mayor to declare 2 iPhones and a Surface Pro laptop as surplus.
Sorry, Mayor, we're on K now. So we continued J, and now we need to do item K.
Oh, okay. Excuse me,
still Marty.
I'm making too many marks. Excuse me. I'm still with you, Marty.
The meeting does go faster when you just mark
I
those
just want to
off.
get this done here. I'm sorry, Chief Thomas. We just about had you done here, and then you're out of here. Okay, back to 10K. Keep it straight here. You're supposed to do that.
I did.
To consider for adoption Resolution 2019-035, authorizing the mayor to enter into a reimbursement agreement for property owners along the north side of 1100 North between 437 East, 55 East, for construction of roadway and utility improvements planned for effective date.
Mayor, council, as you know, we're under construction. Construction, I believe, probably started yesterday on the 1100 North project, which includes a storm drain line replacement, some water service replacements, and then the road reconstruction. With that, we originally kind of set out to look at the cost of doing curb gutter sidewalk improvements. Typically, anything along a frontage of a private property or a resident would be paid for by that resident as they receive the value of those improvements as far as having an improved frontage. As we got through the project, the cost of the project, if you remember correct, on some of the discussions we had, to get curb gutter and sidewalk along this section of 1100 North between 500 East and the Murdoch Canal Trail, I think we estimated in the $275,000 to $300,000 additional cost to the project cost, which was above the budget of the project, not allowed to do, and it would be very difficult to be borne because of some elevations. On the north side of the road, however, the elevations are not so bad, and as we wanted to get the project moving but knew that we needed to talk with these property owners about the potential of putting in curb gutter and sidewalk on the north side of the road, and mainly we were focusing on this section here between 3rd East and 5th East, knowing that this would probably come in when this property developed. Well, we've now contacted all 5 property owners that have ownership along the missing sections of curb gutter and sidewalk. We have got agreements with every one of them to pay for their curb gutter and sidewalk improvements along the frontage there, and that's what the item is before you. It's between the address is 437 here on this pin. The address over here is at 555 East. So there's 5 separate owners that we're entering into an agreement with, and once they sign, then we would bring that back to the mayor for a final signature. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. The idea is that we'd have curb gutter and sidewalk on 1100 North all the way down almost to 1st East. We have one piece of property that we're still discussing about trying to get, but this would get us everywhere, almost to 1st East, all the way up the north side of 1100 North.
It's amazing. So tell me, remind me again, I was still thinking about something else. On the south side of the road, we are not putting inside.
Yeah, the south side of that road drops off significantly. So when you construct your road, put in your curb and gutter, you're going to be so much higher than the existing ground that you'd have to put in retaining walls. You'd have to replace driveways all the way back to the fronts of the homes, and those costs really drove those costs significantly higher than we could afford on the project budget. And so this was something that we decided not to do that on the south side, but on the north side, we feel like we don't have the elevation problems.
Would Safe Sidewalks help with any of that on the north side?
So Safe Sidewalks is, if you remember, redid the sidewalk between 3rd East and 5th East. Their program, I believe, only puts sidewalk on one side of the road. So beyond that, it wouldn't be available. Now, not to say that you wouldn't be able to get it on this section at some point to be able to complete it there. However, that's not in the cards right now. So we're working with these property owners to get that section in. So.
And will they be able to construct the road so that it's engineered so that drainage will not, we will have we're not even going to have curb and gutter on the south side?
On the south side, there will not be curb and gutter. However, there is a new crown in the road that we're creating so that all the water that used to sheet flow across and really affect right here, the water used to sheet flow across the road and kind of impact more here. All of that now will be kept on the north side of the road and collected into the stormwater system, so we don't have that drainage so much of an issue. Not to say that none of the road drainage will drain there. There'll be some, but it'll be limited just to half that road for about 20 feet wide, so.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion for resolution number 2019-035.
Mayor, I make a motion for adoption of Resolution 2019-35, authorizing the mayor to enter into reimbursement agreements with property owners along the north side of 1100 North between 437 East and 555 East for construction of roadway and utility improvements and providing for an effective date.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jensen, a second by Councilmember Anderson. This will be a roll call vote again. Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
Councilmember Walker.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to item number 10L, to consider for adoption Resolution 2019-036, authorizing the mayor to declare 2 iPhones and a Surface Pro laptop as surplus and directs they be disposed of according to the city's policy for disposing of surplus property and providing for an effective date. Chief Thomas.
2 iPhones and a Surface Pro to be surplused. Any questions?
Yeah, how old are they?
How old are they? I'm embarrassed. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, after what, a year now, everything's old, right? So,
Yeah,
And it's-
sometimes
it's
even
older
less than
than
that. Yeah, so, yeah, it's time for these to go away, and then we'll work through the issues of getting some other ones.
Okay, that's great. Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2019-36, authorizing the mayor to declare 2 iPhone and a Surface Pro laptop as surplus and direct that they be disposed of according to city's policy for its disposing of surplus property and providing for an effective date.
second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Williams, a second by Councilmember Jensen. This will be a roll call vote. That'd be Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Councilmember Walker.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Now we'll move on to 10M, to consider for adoption resolutions 2019-037, amending the personnel policies and procedures previously approved by the City Council, and specifically amending Section XB1, leave of absence, Section X111, and reimbursement expenses, and providing for an effective date.
So Mayor and Council, as you're aware, Kyler and I have been working through the policy manual. This is the latest in our updates. We meet every Monday, and our primary purpose in meeting is to work on these changes and also to discuss other HR-related issues. In the leave of absence section, there's quite a bit of amendments, and so I'll just try to hit the highlights for you so that you'll know what we're doing, and hopefully you've had an opportunity to review it if you have any questions in your packet. So under vacation leave, in, sorry, I just lost my place. We wanted to make it a little bit more attractive for some of our public safety employees when they transfer from other departments, from other cities. A lot of times those lateral transfers lose their vacation hours. And so we have added a section that at the discretion of the city administrator, if public safety and fire or law enforcement transfer over to Pleasant Grove, they have the discretion of being able to carry some vacation hours over so that we're not penalizing them. And hopefully it can be used as a recruiting tool As you know, that we're always trying to recruit public safety employees, and any that we can get that are already trained and certified are to our financial advantage.
Tina, why would they lose that? I don't understand originally, why was that written such?
So we added that, as I said, like a recruiting tool, because they come from another city, and if they have vacation time
see.
accrued there,
Mm-hmm.
and also if they have any time in at another city, they probably accrue it at a faster rate, just like we do. If you've worked here
Sure.
for so many years, you get more days. And so we're just allowing the city administrator some discretion in saying, well, you've got 10 years at this other city.
I think it's a great
and-
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Does that make
Thank you.
sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And let me see if I can get back down there again. The other thing that we added in the vacation leave section was they can now carry over 168 hours into the new year. Right now, we had it capped at 120, and we had a lot of employees losing vacation hours and giving them back basically to the city. And instead of losing them on January 1st, which was the old way, the old policy, we are now beginning January of 2020, we're allowing them to go to their anniversary date of hire. So everyone is not going to lose it in January. They'll have to spend down their vacation by their hire date, their hire anniversary. The other thing we did was to make consistencies between the fire department and the police department. And anybody engaged in firefighting or law enforcement activities who are regularly scheduled for more than 2,080 hours, which is more than full-time, they accrue vacation leave at a rate proportionate to the additional work hours. So for firefighters, that makes a significant change. For our police department, they're on 84-hour work periods, and so it's not a huge change to them, but it is just a little bit of a bump. So they'll get a little bit more time accrued in vacation.
Sorry, Denise, do we carry that as a liability on the city books,
Yes.
right?
Not for general fund.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's a audit entry.
Yeah.
So on the entity-wide statements, you see it. Only in the enterprise funds are we actually accruing for sick leave and vacation.
Okay.
On the general fund, it's just on the entity-wide statements.
That sounds great. Okay, thank you.
And then in the sick leave section of Section 10, we did add some language regarding the sick leave policy. This is something that hasn't been very well understood by our employees, and we've had some issues with it. But the existing language specifies that sick leave is not a privilege and is not to be used at an employee's discretion, but shall be allowed only in case of necessity and actual sickness or disability of the employee or immediate family member. We added some defining language, i.e. spouse, children, parent, or other dependent. Just to clarify, we had some questions come up, what if my kids are living with me and I have grandkids living with me? Can I take sick time? So we just sort of hopefully made that clearer. Also, we clarified that anybody who is on non-paid leave for any reason does not accrue sick leave during that period of time, even though they're still employed. And then we also added the same accrual language for public safety, in that if they work over the 40 hours a week, that they accrue sick leave at just that slightly increased rate proportionate to the number of hours they work over 40. The other thing we did was clarify that if anybody's injured on the job, that they need to report the injury immediately to the supervisor, to our HR department. And we actually had to use some kind of confusing language there. The workman's compensation coordinator is the required language under the statute of workman's compensation, but I also put in there in human resources so that our employees weren't confused as to who the workman's compensation coordinator was. Then the other things that we have in there are pretty minor. The other change we made was the administrative leave without pay. In the past, we've had designated individuals, city administrator, city attorney, finance director, et cetera, who were regularly expected to work more than 40 hours a week, and they received that additional administrative leave pay. We have since in practice, we have used it for anyone who is considered exempt under the FLSA. So I just made our policy consistent with what the practice has been. And then we made quite a few changes. One more thing, we just made it clear that employees couldn't accrue negative leave balances. We've had employees in the past want to take vacations or whatever without having the number of hours saved up in their bank, and they wanted to go into the negative. And we just clarified that that's not allowed unless they get prior permission from a department head. Then our reimbursable expenses is basically our travel policy. There are extensive changes there. We basically rewrote the whole section. And it provides a mechanism to make it clearer for the employees as to how travel and reimbursement for travel expenses will be handled by the city. We've also included a requirement to fill out a pre-travel approval application that will be easy for our HR department, our payroll department, and our finance department to keep track of the true costs of sending people for training and conferences, and outline what the reimbursable expenses are. We have changed one policy in there in terms of reimbursement for using personal vehicles. City vehicles are supposed to be used at all times, whenever possible, on city business to attend training and conferences. However, at times, we recognize that personal vehicles may be preferred. In that case, our old policy only reimbursed the employee 18 cents a mile, which we were finding didn't even cover the gas. So now, instead of that, it's just half of whatever the IRS rate is. So that should at least compensate them for gas. I think those are the highlights. Do you have any questions?
How come half?
We just thought 18 cents wasn't enough, and they shouldn't get the whole IRS rate because then they're actually making money off of taking their own vehicle.
Okay,
So,
all right,
especially when a city vehicle is available.
okay. They're choosing to use
If a
They're
city
choosing to
vehicle's
use
not
their own.
available to them, they get the full IRS
Right.
rate.
Okay,
But
It's
if
only
they,
if a vehicle's available.
yeah, if a city vehicle's available and they choose not to use it, then they don't get the full IRS rate. They only get half.
all right,
Okay.
clarified.
Anything else?
Anything, council? Thank you.
I like that this is being done. So how long have you met before you brought, I mean, you're saying you meet every Monday, but is this like months worth of work? Like how?
Yes, it actually is months' worth of work.
I mean, it
so-
seems like it.
Yeah. We meet every Monday. We talk about the issues that we feel like need to be looked at, and then we each go back and do our own section of research, get back together, mesh what we like, what we've taken from other places, research the law, what we have to change, and then make the suggested changes. And it goes back and forth between us quite a few times before it's ready for council.
Okay.
And then once it's approved, Kyler writes up a summary, sends it out to all the employees so they now understand what the new policy is.
Okay. I like it. Thank you. That's a lot of work, so thanks.
Thank you.
Really is.
Thank you. If not, any other discussion? I'd
No.
ask for a motion on resolution number 2019-037.
I'll make the motion that we adopt resolution 2019-037, amending the personnel policies and procedures previously approved by the city council, specifically amending section, what is that? I don't know. 10, leaves of absence, and section 11, reimbursable expenses, and providing for an effective date.
Second.
Was it 11?
We have a motion by Councilmember Lamone, a second by Councilmember Jensen. And this
Can
will be a roll.
can we just, it's actually section
I'm sorry,
16 and
clarification,
section
I'm
13.
not up with my Roman
For
numerals.
those who watch Super Bowls or whatever, then they know the numbers, right?
I'm not up with the Roman numerals, so I'm going to change that to section 10 and section 16.
Sorry, 16 and 13.
16 and 13, okay.
And I'll re-second that.
Is there a reason we couldn't just
Okay, I'm glad you straightened that out. This will be a roll call vote, and we'll start out with Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone,
Yes.
Councilmember Walker,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries, and that concludes our action.
Mayor, can I just jump in?
Yes.
We have Larry Myler and Dave Reynolds here. They'd like to give a little update on their project to the council. They were hoping to meet our open session, but they got here a little late, so
Okay.
it's all right.
Please come forward.
We'd love to hear an update.
I told them we'd give them the floor if they told us some good news, so they said they got some good
That's
news.
right, you pulled me outside. If it's good news, we can do this.
That's still to be determined whether it's good news or not. Right, Larry?
Good to be back with you, and nice digs. This is a great improvement. I love the flag is my favorite part. Sitting back there has been wonderful. So we want to give you an update. Seems like we've died, but we haven't. We've been alive and working the deal still. And Dave's going to give you an update on retail. I wanted to kind of genuinely tell you what's going on. You've seen the residential dirt moving around. Richmond is moving fast, and we're almost ready for 1300 West to go in its new life. And it should have been started close to now, but the weather and some elevation issues with soil kind of kept things from happening as soon as we would like. But with regard to an agreement that we want to put in place with the city about doing all of 1300, the city's portion, our portion, Richmond's portion, so it's not piecemealed and seamed together, we've been talking about that, and I think we're ready to come in and hopefully move that agreement to the next step, and we'll be in contact on that this week, if that's okay. So that'll be happening, and pretty soon 1300 will have the new curve and hit at more a 90-degree angle on State Street, so that we're excited about that. And that'll be done with 300 North that goes through our project, east and west through our project. So all be done at one time and seamless. With regard to a hotel, we've been talking about a hotel, and we've talked about 5 hoteliers to be partners with us. Unfortunately, we haven't had much luck. A couple of things. One, it's not near the freeway, so it's not the optimal location for a hotel. 2, people have kind of looked at the performance of surrounding hotels, and they've opted not to come in with us. But not wanting to lose a bet to Councilmember Williams, if anyone remembers that night.
Yes.
Yep.
We're looking at a hybrid model, a Airbnb, short-term, long-term thing, and the question mark we have is, will it be the same tax benefit to the city as a regular hotel? And we're exploring that, as well as we've talked to contractors about the construction costs. So we're looking into that, and if we can make it to a point where we think it'll work for all the parties, we'll come in and talk about that too. So I
Larry,
think that's, yes,
What are you still thinking for an estimated time of completion?
for completion of,
Just the project in general, or the housing phase, the retail, I mean, what's kind of your estimated time frame?
so Dave's going to talk about retail. He'll update you on that and the progress that we've made. So we're not sure. We have a lot at stake. We have some money in your hands that we hope goes back to our hands, but there's a
I
time
mean,
limit.
okay, wait,
so-
let's clarify, not literally in our hands, we haven't taken any payment.
Not anyone
For
on the
any
bench
dis-
here, no.
Okay,
but,
thank you.
It's the city coffers.
Okay.
You'll put it to good use if we don't get it back, but we hope we can get it back by meeting the deadline that's on the table right now, which is another year and a half, something like that. So we're certainly shooting for that.
So it's moving, because I did have a resident ask about kind of what the status was,
Yeah.
things like that, but things are moving.
Yeah, you'll get a status report
Okay.
on the retail tonight from Dave.
Okay.
And I think that's about all I had, other than the retail. Any questions for me before Dave takes over? Okay.
No.
Thanks, Larry.
The bet's not off yet, so we're,
Council members, hope you're having a good summer,
Yes.
and staff. And I just want to say it's exciting to stand up here and not be asking you for something, just let you know what's going on. So the retail is going well, and in my job, it's always a little bit challenging to not let the cat out of the bag prematurely. We've got several tenants that we're in negotiations with now. One of them is a national tenant. that would go on the corner of 1650 West. We will probably be disclosing who that is fairly shortly. It's a restaurant tenant. It'll be about 4,500 square feet. So
Wow.
that's one.
4,500 square feet.
National chain.
Can you give us a
Nice
flavor
work,
of
Dave.
food? We won't tell anyone.
Nobody's watching, nobody's listening.
It has to do with beef, so.
Yes,
But
beef
there's a big spectrum there, so don't get too excited. Anyway, we also have a couple other restaurants that we're talking to. Some are local. We have another national group that's a non-restaurant, but a retail tenant that would take a lot of business potentially away from your rival to the west, American Fork. So, you know, that's all I'll say about that one, but that one's in the.
Who's that to the west?
American Fork?
Who?
Yeah,
Little
right, that's right.
American Fork.
There's an annexation
just keep
plan, I
bringing
think,
them
or
our
something
way.
like that.
Well done.
Well done. Keep bringing them our way.
So anyway, we're very excited about the progress, and next time we give you a status report, we hope to be able to release some of the names of some of the tenants that are.
Thanks, Dave.
And you let us know when you're ready for any kind of a press release or anything like that. We like to help along with that. We like
Absolutely.
spreading that word.
Yeah, we love that. So thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks
Good
for your
to
work.
see you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, guys. Keep working on that hotel. Okay, we now moved to item 11 and finished our discussion from our work session, and we'll start over here with Kyler. Do you have anything? I don't have anything. Denise, you've been awful quiet this evening. Okay, anything else, Director?
Yes, just a couple calendaring items. We have on July 29th here in this room at 6:30, what we're calling a social gathering. When we talked in our retreat, the council wanted to meet with the other city councils, so we've invited Linden, American Fork, and Cedar Hills elected officials.
Scott, that's went out on email, right?
What's that?
There was an email also, right? For
Yes.
those
Yeah,
up here?
Yeah, you know, those that read my emails,
Yeah.
I'd let you know. I've also sent you an appointment for that, but just as a reminder. And the intent, we're not serving a dinner, but we'll have some finger foods and then, and really not necessarily an agenda because we don't want it to be talking city policy or any of that stuff because it won't be a notice meeting, it will be a social meeting. So and maybe give them a quick tour of the building and something like that. But that's the intent. So not necessarily spouses, just really the council members and the elected officials. And I mean, I'll be there. If Tina wants to show up, she can come as well. But
Thanks for putting that together.
yeah, and the other cities are excited about attending. August 5th is our city swim party. That is going to be at 6 o'clock at the Veterans Park. We will have a meal for the employees and for city council, and then we'll do swimming afterwards for those that want to stick around. Sorry, August 5th. I sent you like 4 different wrong dates on this. Every
that
time I
is
sent a
confirmed.
date, Marty would
Okay.
send me an email saying,
Nope.
Don't you
It's
mean-
Tuesday, it's Monday, it's.
Monday,
I know, I'm
August.
teasing.
and I did send you an
Chlorine levels
appointment
will
on
be
that,
great.
which
Tyler?
did have the right date on it.
Because there was one time when he sent it, it was
Tyler?
going to be Tuesday the 5th.
Chlorine levels will be fine.
So those are the 2 calendaring items I want to make sure that you have.
Thanks,
That's
Scott.
all I have.
You.
Thanks, Scott. Tina, do you have anything else for us? Marty?
Mayor, Council, we are making a little progress with Utah County on getting First East finished up, so tomorrow the mill will be in. The poor asphalt sections that we've been seeing kind of potholing up over the last winter and stuff will all be milled down. So essentially from 2nd South to just below 200 North, everything will be milled back down. That top lift that they put on there, 2 inches, that will be done. You've seen all the little holes in the road. They did that to lower the valves in the manholes so they can mill it, and then they'll come in with the mill, take off the 2 inches, bring in 2 new inches of asphalt, and then they'll raise all of those manholes and valves back to grade. So that's what you're seeing there. And that will happen, this week is the mill. I'm being told that next week is the pave, that they'll come in and pave that section and get everything put back together. Then they'll come and lift and raise those manholes and valves.
Marty?
Yes.
Is there, you may be getting to this, is there other sections, like we're by the junior high, that corner?
So I believe, 4th North, 11th North, 5th North, 1800 North, all of those sections had sections that we didn't accept and required that they be milled and repaved. And so you're going to see every one of those intersections, and there's a few sections in between areas that need to be repaved. So we're working on the 1100, or are you staying there by the junior high? Is that what you're saying?
It's
or-
kind of right out front of where you first pull in junior high, kind of that curve right
Where
before
it's
the
really
cemetery.
bumpy through there. Yeah, we talked with them about that last week, so.
And then when will striping happen?
So paving will happen to get everything back. Striping around the first week in August is when they'll come in and put on the final micro surface. So the entire road surface will be overlaid with a small micro surface protector. And then after that sets, so before school starts, they've told us that all of the striping, final striping will be in, all of the crosswalks will be in, and put back by that point. So
And are we going to be able to verify, because with the striping that was done last time, are we going to make sure that this is,
everything was temporary before and laid out as a temporary layout. It should have been done a little bit better, but yes, everything has been surveyed and laid out professionally. We have a striping plan. I've reviewed the entire striping plan and made comments, and anyways, it should be much better, yes.
okay, thank you.
So
And
that's.
then
yeah.
2600.
So 2600
area.
North, they had the spring area that we've discussed previously, that is, the road's busted up, and they're fixing that. I understood they were fixing that the beginning of this week. They'll be patching that back, and my understanding is next week they're bringing in the paving machine to repave all those areas. So right now, 2600 North only has the first lift of pavement on it. It will all be repaved next week, and the final lift will be put on in the next couple of
And
weeks.
then that area is done.
That area is done except for the microsurface, which will be the first week of August.
Okay.
But the road should be opened up at that point.
For a county road, we're sure spending a lot of time on it.
We have done a lot of coordination, there is no question. We spend a lot of time, weekly meetings, multiple meetings, trying to get this coordinated right,
Well,
so.
thank you for your work.
We did have some benefit.
But
We
share
did
our
get-
disappointment.
Yeah, yes,
Because
it
it's-
has been tough.
Frustrating.
So 3rd East is going well. Water line's almost complete. They'll start working on services over the next few weeks. 380 East is complete. We're just working on the paving on that section up there. 1100 North has started like we've discussed. Battle Creek Springs, yes.
So the 380, are you going to do an overlay on that or some kind of a,
Yeah, so everything was left low so that
Yeah.
we can come and put another 1.5 inch low overlay on the entire thing. There'll also be a fabric in between the two layers to help to stop some of the crack propagation up through the new pavement. So, yes.
And is
that'll look
that's
new.
Cody Ecker as well,
So Cody Ecker is the
doing
prime.
380?
Cody Ecker is the contractor the general contractor for the whole project.
Okay.
Kilgore is actually the contractor for the paving portion of that.
Gore is the one for the first, okay.
And then 1100 North is going. Staker Parsons is the contractor on that. That's moving forward. Battle Creek Springs is moving. They cleared and grubbed all the way into some of our farthest spring, and we'll be continuing to clear and grub all of the other alignments. And that'll go on for the next 4 or 5 months till they can't get up there anymore. So everything's moving forward on that one as well.
Did the county find a contractor for center?
No, we're still working on final negotiations of that as far as a new contractor to bring in. Essentially what Richard Nilsson, and we can have that, do you want to discuss that here, Scott, to any length, or?
Yeah, let's.
That's fine. That's fine. I just was
We
curious.
just have to finish up a little bit on that, and we'll send you an email update
Working on
on
a
it.
final agreement with them, but yes, essentially the commitment is that they'll come in and get that project done.
Great.
So we're just trying to negotiate that commitment.
Or with the new contractor?
Yes, likely they'll bid it out and get a new contractor to come in and get it.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
An engineering question. Blue pipe is water. What's the smaller sized pink purple pipe?
So typically, purple pipe is our irrigation pipe.
Oh, okay.
So blue
I'm just
pipe is
thinking
our
of Third
culinary
East.
water, and pink pipe is generally our irrigation.
Don't drink out of that.
They're both the same type of pipe, exactly the same, just different colors.
Yes.
It's actually purple, but it kind of looks pink, so. And then
That's probably your problem.
anyways, if there's any other questions, please let me know.
It's my only problem.
That's why we have Marty for the big questions like that.
The big questions. The pink purple pipe?
So I'm glad I knew the answer. All right, that's all I
Hey,
have.
citizens want to know, when they see the different sized pipes, that they ask me the questions, then they think that I know. So
It's not size related,
It's not size related, it's
use related.
quality of water related.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all, Marty? Thank you. Daniel?
Thank you, Mayor. So I just sent you an email with the rap sheet, the most updated rap sheet. I also sent it to Mr. Nathan Gerber to be uploaded online. I did some modifications to the rap sheet. Now we're gonna put all the new items right on top. So you're gonna see a couple of, it will catch your eye immediately right there. We have a couple of good items coming. We put McKay Christensen project there because right now we're working on the plat. So I decided if we're spending some good time on it, I'm gonna put it in there. So we have that one. We have the Grove Station there too, which they're making moves toward their final project. They kind of need a code amendment, which we had today, but Planning Commission need to work a little bit more on that, so that's why we continue it. But it's coming to you guys pretty soon. Okay, we're getting close to that one. A Better Body Foods, as we were working today with the annexation, parallel to that, we were working with the site plan, we're working with the plat, so it's gonna be a huge building that eventually we'll bring to you guys, but they're moving forward on that. So we weren't waiting to do the annexation. We started working ahead of time. So, and Wagner Commercial, which is the piece of land, I don't know if you guys remember, it used to be the Osmonds property. That one is coming, and it's coming with power. I mean, a couple of restaurants right there, some good commercial. That item already went to the Planning Commission, so it's coming to you guys pretty soon. So those items are there in the rap sheet. Those are the newest stars in the city. And so that's how they're gonna be. The rap sheet I'm just gonna put right there. And the new residential is all the way at the bottom. There's also a couple of new applications for large subdivisions that you guys gonna see right there. Okay? So any questions you guys have, always you can email me, text me. I'm available all the time. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Daniel. Anything from our new intern there?
It's nice of you to ask. No, I don't.
Okay. You'd have to have knowledge of the name of the restaurant to make it any better. So anyway, you work on that, will you? So anyway. Sherry?
Just summer reading still going strong, and it's keeping us busy. Today was crazy busy in the library, but it's fun to see.
Would you say numbers are about the same this year for your programs, for your summer programs?
It's hard to say. It was really odd. The first couple weeks were really quiet, and usually those are our craziest weeks. So I don't know, but the last 3 weeks have been pretty busy. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Sherry.
Anything happening at the rec center?
Yeah, there's lots happening. Right now, actually, not at the rec center. Down at the baseball fields, we're hosting the state baseball tournament right now. So,
Really?
Wow.
so there's a lot going on. We actually are the site for the Pony League, which is about junior high age kids. We got selected as the site to have the super state tournament. So that'll be happening through Thursday. So, and they actually pay to come and watch these boys play, and that comes back to us at the rec center. So pretty cool. Our basketball camps, our volleyball camp, tennis camp, they're all just finishing up. We're revving up for fall soccer. All our fall sports are right around the corner, and yeah, we're really busy. Lots of things going on. So.
And thanks, Dion, for keeping the fields up so he's got something to play on. So anyway.
Yes, thank you.
So, you have anything for us, Dion?
I do not.
Okay. Chief Thomas.
We were able to conduct a test for our battalion chief position. He left in June, before July, actually. And so we were able to test. We had 2 captains that tested for that, and we'll have a chief's interview tomorrow and see if we can't make a decision there. And now we're looking forward to filling the other 2 open positions right now. With the battalion chief and all the move up, we'll end up with 3 full-time positions that we'll be filling. And we've got over 25 applicants for the position.
Wow.
So we're looking forward to get that test going and stuff.
Does that surprise you?
Pardon me?
Is that surprising that you got
oh,
that
yeah.
many applicants?
Oh, yeah, I expected maybe 8, maybe 9. I know other cities around here that have hosted tests and only got 10 or less for multiple positions.
Laterally moving or new guys?
I don't have
coming
any
up?
laterals. I have one person that is maybe interested in it. And so with this new policy change, that makes that possible and stuff.
Okay.
So also, the brush fire the other day, the bike trails saved the day.
Saved the day.
They honestly did. It stopped right at those bike trails. And I know that Captain Gussman was in charge of the fire. He did an awesome job running it, making sure the attack was proper and stuff. Had a lot of help, including some federal assets, both ground assets and air assets. So that was good. And one other thing. Today, it makes me emotional a little bit. At lunch, the Firefighter Association presented me with a replica leather fire bucket commemorating the fire station. It's super nice. Stop by the office and take a look at it. It's really neat. It's a leather fire bucket. So like what they used to use in the late 1700s and early 1800s to fight fire. And they made leather buckets. And leather buckets back at that time, households had them, and they were also placed in other areas. But they were, it was all they had to fight fire with. And they would fill it up with sand. And the first throw would be with the sand, and then they'd fill it up with water, because you didn't want to have water in your house. But they were tastefully decorated with all kinds of different things, oftentimes the family insignia or whatever, so that the bucket would find its way back home after the fire. And so this is super nice, with a lot of painting and stuff commemorating the new station.
Oh, that's neat.
So lots of fun.
Status of Old Joe getting into that display case. We want to see it in there.
So they're welding up the back of it right now, just like the guys originally had to do. They actually built the rear of the truck, the bed of it, and they're in the process. It wasn't salvageable. A tank had been leaking, and so what they've had to do is they've used some of the original parts, and then they're going through and they're having to rebuild that. And so they're on that right now. And as soon as they finish building that, it'll go to paint, and then we should be able to begin to assemble.
So a few months, maybe by the end of the year.
Yeah, it's just tough for him to find a lot of time working on it. I keep him pretty busy.
Yeah, brush fires and whatnot.
Brush fires and saving lives, life and property, that's all.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Chief Roberts.
I don't have much, Mayor. I'm just going to let you know we're hosting a concealed carry class on August 1st in this room. If you know anybody that's interested, we can sign you up with the police department. It's a good class.
And there were a bunch of dispatchers in here today.
Yes, it was the APCO convention for all the PSAPs today here, so it turned out well, very well.
It was nice to see the room filled, and it was nice to see the parking lot filled too. So.
Okay. Well, City Manager Scott, is there anything we need to be aware of for our next council meeting at this point?
Yeah, we don't have an agenda just yet. We do know some planning items are coming up, but
Okay.
we don't have any items to discuss tonight.
All right. Sid, do you have anything else to add tonight?
No, just thanks, because I know we haven't met for a couple weeks, so thank you for the fireworks. Awesome. Mayor, you
Yes.
lit them off, and then the fireworks show, that was awesome. The city helping with the flag, Dion, I know, and I think Public Works provided some cones. I mean, we just, donate to that, so thank you for that, and just some things that have happened over the past few weeks. So big events in our city that especially the flag that puts us on the map worldwide. I mean, it's awesome. So thank you for helping with that. Thanks. That's all.
I'll just add, the only problem with the fireworks, they're not big enough shells, but we can't do any bigger. We used to do 6 and 8s back when we were apparently doing it illegally.
Are those,
from what
all of
the-
those aren't legal now?
Was this when you
Well,
were in
you-
high school, Mayor?
No, yeah. Hey, we did have a 16-inch shell one year, and if you can imagine. So, anyway.
Yeah.
It was a great show.
Find that.
Oh, they sell them.
Camp Williams.
In
Yeah.
Macy's parking lot.
Oh, probably Mexico.
Yeah,
Uh,
really.
And it was launched up to the high school
Wow.
back in the days, okay?
Very cool.
But boy, if that hadn't have launched, and it would have probably
Burned down the
taken-
whole school.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Not like when
No,
Sundance
taken
shot
out
a
most of the
avalanche.
residents up there.
Landed in somebody's backyard.
Councilmember Jensen.
Everyone needs to pull out their phone and make a note of this for tomorrow at noon prompt. We have a ribbon cutting for another bank out in the Grove Zone, I'll call it, for Bank of American Fork. At 2174 West Grove Parkway. I'm not going to send it in, but I'm just going to see who shows by me just telling you here.
I'm going to be a little bit busy.
Okay, fine.
I'm sorry.
So staff who wants to come out to that can come out.
So this is a groundbreaking?
This is a kind of a satellite office they're doing, but they're going to have activities from 11:30 to 1:30, but the official ribbon cutting's at noon.
It's
This
actual,
is ribbon cutting.
This is over by BMW, the building to the north of BMW.
Like, is it
so
open?
they put a branch.
It's a new branch they're opening.
Yeah.
North of BMW?
Yeah, they're going
Kind
to
of
be.
where the old University of Phoenix?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So please come noon.
Okay.
We'll have the sharp scissors there, and Mayor, we'd like to have you there.
Okay. I think I can.
Diana's not invited, so.
My daughter is getting married at the same time.
I don't know why this isn't a higher priority.
It's that building.
I can't believe I'm just sitting here quietly.
Okay, all right, so that's all I have.
Todd, nothing? Okay. Diana.
I loved the festivities that we've had since we last met, and especially the Follow the Flag, the big, we had we had a little microburst that did some damage to it. And I think some trees went down at that same time on 2nd East, and I think the fire boys came out and the public works came out, but that came through really hard and fast. Anyway, North Ogden chapter of Follow the Flag came through for us with the major, and it was very emotional. Anyway, I don't have anything else. I'm very grateful that all the city departments run and that they run well. I love that the bike trail saved the fire. I do think I am nervous about, we're gonna have some really hot temperatures, and I think we're gonna get some winds, so I think we're in some danger zones. Anyway.
Really quick, do we know what caused the fire, Chief?
They were able to find where it started. A federal investigator just happened to be in the area, and some of the federal assets that were on site had him come over and do an investigation. And he was able to kind of find the point of origin, but he was not able to find just what caused it. And
So it may never be known, or it's still under
it
investigation?
likely will not ever be known.
Lynn, you have been awful quiet this evening. We've heard a little bit from you.
Taking it all in.
Taking it all in?
It's been a great month so far, man.
Yes.
And I look forward to seeing the great remainder of the month. A good bunch of people we have here.
Thanks, Lynn. Kathy, do you have anything to straighten us out on?
Mayor, I do have something for, I know we have our Meet the Candidates tomorrow. We do have, some of us are rushing to another facility that's hosting a reception. So can we have an email sent out to the candidates to say that we need to be out here at 8 o'clock? Because I will be. I don't know about Sid or anyone else, but.
Okay, the only thing I've got to add, I appreciate all of you, council and the staff for all the work here, but when I drive up Main Street and look at the crowds at our new park, I just, we did something right there.
Yeah, we
So
did.
it really looks good. The grass is coming back, and thanks to Jan for keeping it soaked up and, so,
Thank,
yeah, just make sure he gets all the water he can use there, so anyway, but thank you. It's, it just, how the whole block turned out is just, I'm just overwhelmed when I drive by.
Yep.
So, with that, I guess we're asked to be adjourned, and then we'll re-adjourn, so ask for a motion to adjourn from our council meeting.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adjourn from council meeting tonight.
Do I have a second?
second.
Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed to that? If it passes, we'll now,
Hang
over
on.
with yet, we'll now,
Well, we need to do our RDA meeting.
yes,
Yeah.
RDA. We'll now ask, we'll
Mayor, I'll make-
reconvene.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to convene as the Pleasant Grove City Redevelopment Agency.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, we're in our, we have now moved in and we open up. So,
Should I just make a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of
Okay.
April 17th, 2018? Is that right?
skip to the,
2019. It's 18? No, it really is. Okay, so, okay. All right, Mayor, I'll make a motion, no, not Mayor,
Chair.
Chair. I'll make a motion to
Chair.
approve the minutes of April 17th, 2018, and approve the minutes of June 25th, 2019 RDA meeting.
Second on both.
we have a motion from Board Member Williams and a second by Board Member Lamone. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. If there's not any other business to have, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And I'll second it.
We have a motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Wait, when's